football, the red zone is where a team has to make small adjustments to ensure victory. As you approach retirement, you also need to make small adjustments to ensure success. This is the Red Zone Retirement Program with registered investment advisor and enrolled agent John Mears of Mears Money Management.
This week on Red Zone Retirement Program, don't panic, right? So on the field or in your finances, let's get into our football and finance conversation this week with Coach John Mears. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Doing well. We're kind of gearing up for football season here, and I'm excited. And so I love doing these little bits here on football and finances. Even if you're not a football fan, it's kind of a fun topic to go over. You can relate to this. We're not telling you, any secrets to the game here. Just kind of a fun way to relate football and finances because they are very, very similar in many ways.
Yeah. I mean, sports in general, right, works really well as a metaphor for so many things in life whenever you kind of put stuff together. So
I think it helps stuff. It helps the light bulb go off for people sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, we're taping this you're probably, by the time we drop this, you're probably actually in football season. Hopefully, go Coach. So hopefully you guys are having a good first start to the things. But let's get into it. So I said it's going to be don't panic, right? So when to stay calm and not panic, that's tough.
It is.
In any situation, sometimes we get worked up, we get that thing going on in our chest, right? And then it's like, oh man, and then you start to make mistakes. So talk to me about, I guess turnovers, right? I guess that's probably the place where you want to kind of kick things off.
Bad things can happen early in the game. So you prepared all week. And the game's starting, and the very first play of the game, I remember years ago, we're playing a school out in Ventura High School. We're out there. It's an away game. They're a pretty good team, too. They're well coached. And so what happens on the kickoff, we kind of screw around the kickoff. We're on our own 10 or 15-yard line, and the first play of the game, our quarterback and the center, we fumble the ball. Yeah. And so Ventura takes over on the 10-yard line, punch it in and score. Not a good way to start a game, a big game. And people are getting a little antsy because, again, Ventura is a really good team. Now, the good news is
you're already in the hole. Yeah. So,
yes. We didn't panic. We came back and won the game. And same thing with another story, which is similar. We're playing a school locally, a school called Saugus High School. I previously coached there. Good team, good coaches. Well, opening kickoff, we kicked it to their best player. All the way back for a touchdown. Now, remember, we're telling them when we practice all week, don't kick it to that guy. We kick it to that guy. And he returns it all the way 100 yards for a touchdown. And so that was, and their sideline was all jacked up. They're really, really happy. But the key is that stuff happens. And so one interception, one fumble will not define the whole game. You want to stick to your game plan. You want to adjust accordingly, but you want to stick to your game plan. You want to stick to what you've already decided will help you win the game. And good teams, just as good investors, will bounce back as long as we remain focused. And that's the thing we have to do. So what my job as a coach was to do is just remain calm on the sidelines, make sure we stayed focused, don't yell at the kids, just kind of let them know, by the way, this is what our next step is. So how this relates to finances is we have unexpected things happen in our financial.
Absolutely. Murphy's going to strike all through life.
Yes. So there may be some sort of a medical emergency. There could be, like I told you, we had an issue with the air conditioning unit. So these things happen.
Right.
So this is why we have emergency funds. We have these funds set aside for these types of things. And so what we can do is when we remain focused, we spend the emergency funds, and sometimes people don't like to spend them. Well, that's what it's there for, to be spent,
right?
And then you replenish it. And so that's what you have to do is just kind of review what happened, you regroup, and you rebuild, and you just get back to it, and you don't start spiraling into debt and that sort of thing. So you want to remain focused. You don't want to panic just because something quick happened that you weren't prepared for, or not that you weren't prepared, but we weren't ready for. Things happen.
Right. Yeah, it came out of the blue. It came out of the blue, right? I mean, you weren't expecting to turn it over on the first play of the game. Well, as you were describing that, it made me think about the Super Bowl a few years back, Denver and the Seahawks, right? And the first snap of the game, the center's all jacked up. He's hyped up, and he just snaps it right over Manning's head. And Not a good way to start, right? But it certainly doesn't help in high pressure situations because it adds to that pressure. And it could lead to point number 2, which is kind of falling behind on the scoreboard, right? So you guys got down when the kickoff return happened or whatever. And you had to kind of, all right, let's get our game going and let's work our way back through this and get back on the scoreboard, right?
There's some stick-to-itiveness when things are going wrong in a game. And so one of my favorite stories is
and finance.
Yes, exactly. Same thing. So we had a game against a school called St. Francis, one of the better schools in our area. And this is a team that I had a few years ago. We're undefeated. We're really good. They were also undefeated. They were really good. We're out at their place. And they were up on us early in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter. And they're up 20, I think 29-14, something like that.
Okay.
And we just knew that we still had the weapons to do what we needed to do. So we scored a touchdown, scored another touchdown. We actually scored a third touchdown. We took the lead. Now we barely hung on because they scored with like 5 seconds to go in the game to make it 36-35. Quite an entertaining finish.
Yeah, nice.
But we held on, and the reason why is because we just kept our calm, we kept our cool. It was not the end of the road. You know, we were down again. Maybe it was even worse than I thought. 29-12. So we scored 8 points, 8 points, and 8 points, so 24 points to get to that 36. So it was just something that what we weren't trying to do is try and get it all back at one time. We just kind of got our chunks back in. And
that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
And then we scored again by holding them and getting the ball back. So
financially, people do that, right? They'll take a setback. Maybe they have, we have a bad market, whatever the case is, and it's like, oh, well, now I got to swing for the fences a little bit because I'm down.
Correct. When you have a market drop or there's some market volatility, we tend to want to get it all back real quickly. So the market will drop, and the market has, as we all know, 100% of the time recovered. So you don't have to get it all back at one time. It doesn't. There is no rule that it has to be in 3 months or 6 months or a year or 2 years, whatever it is. But we know it's going to come back at some point, and so we just have to kind of stick to the plan, stay focused on the long-term strategy. Know that it's going to work out if we just keep doing this. Kind of like we were against St. Francis. We were a very talented team. We knew that we just persevered, things would break our way, and we did. So same thing in your long-term plan. We know that the market's going to be up generally over time, and so we just need to kind of hang in there even when we have a big market drops.
Well, okay, Coach, but I can hear right now somebody's they're getting ready to type on the comments and on the YouTube channel. They're getting ready to say, yeah, but I don't have the time horizon to just hang in there, right? Because you hear that saying all the time. Well, just hang in there. It always comes back. And fundamentally, that is true. But when you're getting closer to retirement, that's when the panic sets in because you're like, hey, I don't have that time horizon. I didn't have a problem with the 08 the 08 Great Recession because I was 40. Right. I have a problem with it now because I'm 65 kind of thing. Right. So I get that argument, too. But that's where diversification should be coming into play. Yeah.
Yes. And there's also the understanding what your true time horizon is. One good see, football, you have, the clock ends at a certain point in the fourth quarter. But with your life, what happens a lot of times is you're getting to retirement, you don't realize there's overtime and there's multiple overtimes in your life. So if you reach 65, actuarially, the chances of you making 90 are pretty freaking high. So so that is not when your panic time comes. Now, as we are reaching 70, 75, 80, 85, we do have our guardrails, which help us assist us in making sure that you are not losing too much money and you're not getting a situation where you're down by too many points. So what's good about the guardrails is we can't be losing by 30 points. The worst we can do is be losing by 10 points so that we can come back and win. So the guardrails keep us in an area where we're never down by too many points. But but we actually have to be on top of that, and we're diligent about that. And again, like I said before, we put that in writing what that amount is, and that's pretty good. So no matter what happens with the market volatility, we're really never in a situation where we're down so much that we can't recover.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw this one at you. So I don't know what the equation here is going to be, but I'm gonna throw media at you. Okay, from the financial side, right? Because we can use this year as an example, right? So we can go back to April when the tariff conversations, or when the tariffs actually kicked in, right? And it was, it's doom and gloom every day, 12% down. You're going to lose it all. We're going to see a recession. Well, we're in the end of August. We're having a little bit of hiccup right this minute at the time we're taping, but we've also set all new market highs all through, June and July as well. So the media and news sources and things of that nature do not make it easy to go back to point one, which is don't panic. They make it very difficult to do. And I don't know. I guess I think as a football fan, I think about my Lions last year losing their best linebacker in the midway of the season in the game in Dallas, and he's going to be out the whole year if they make the Super Bowl, which they come close. They don't, but injuries happen. So how do you deal with that kind of setback?
So it's funny. I had a game one year, and again, this is a different year, but we were a very good team. We're undefeated, and we're playing a school called Palmdale. Our quarterback gets hurt, and then on the very next play, our backup quarterback got hurt.
Man, that sounds like San Francisco years ago when they had to put that third string, that Brock, Brock in there, who's now the starter. But yeah.
So there is a situation where, things are going wrong. They are, you do have to be prepared for this. This is where you do have to be a little bit adaptable here. So, but what you don't need to do is overhaul your entire team. Now, the quarterback is a crucial part of your team, but again, we had a pretty good defense. Palmdale ended up not ever scoring in that game. So, even though we had a couple guys get hurt, we were still able to hang in there. But the strategy we always have to have is being prepared for sticking to the plan and not getting away from our core strategy. That doesn't mean there's not a little bit of nuance. So we'll go back to our guardrails. Guardrails, if the market does drop, we have talked about this before, we might need to tighten our belt. So instead of $2,000 a month, we might only be able to take $1,800 a month. But the goal is never to run out of money, and we have a plan and a system and a strategy to make sure that doesn't happen. Same thing in the football field, even though things have gone wrong. So they're like the market dropping, two quarterbacks getting out of the game in 30 seconds.
Your quarterbacks are dropping, right?
we adjusted our strategy a little bit. So we adjusted our strategy to run the ball a little bit more and be a little bit more conservative and rely on the defense and our special teams. We still had a strategy. We still stuck to our strategy, which is, the things that it takes to win a football game. Same thing with your investments. We know what our strategy is going to be in case we have difficulty with the headlines in this case, or market uncertainty, because people didn't know. And so when you're uncertain, again, you're going to stick to what your basics are. You don't want to react impulsively. That's one thing you don't want to be doing. So in our case, the quarterback gets hurt. What could we have done? We could have just kind of thrown out the baby with the bathwater and tried to run a bunch of different plays, but we didn't do that. And same thing with I had some people back then in April that are not on the side of our president, who were clients of mine who were really concerned at that time.
Sure.
And I told them, I go, that is not, forget the headlines. All we're looking at are results here and our strategy, and we have a strategy no matter what's going to happen, what you hear, no matter what is going on in the news, we're going to stick to our plan. And sure enough, the markets, like you said, recovered and have gone on to set new highs. So that's why we got to get away from the headlines and the impulsiveness. When something goes wrong, when something looks wrong, and again, the market dropping with those tariff fears, that happened. But again, you don't want to act impulsively at that time.
Yeah, and that works both ways, Coach. Right? Not only the negative side of the media conversation, but the positive. Especially around the crypto and all that stuff in the last couple of years, and it keeps the AI stuff. So it's like, let me jump on that hot thing. Let me get on that hot thing before I miss it. And understandable. And maybe there's something there. But again, be smart with your diversification process. Just like somebody saying, hey, I want precious metals in my portfolio. It's not the best investment, maybe, but if you really want it, then make sure you're doing something small, 5% or, whatever, right? You're not getting crazy.
Yeah, in commodities, there is a part of our portfolio that actually kind of includes the commodities as a hedge. So, like you said, it's a very tiny part, but so we're not saying no to anything. We're just kind of saying, where is it strategically allocated within your overall financial plan?
Yeah.
So same thing with, again, the diversification is what helps here. So again, on a football, our team that was so successful that year, even though we had a couple quarterbacks get hurt in consecutive plays, our overall, we were diversified. We had a strong defense. We were strong everywhere else. So because of our diversification, we could handle a loss and not really, again, worry about where we're ending up on the right side here, where we were winning the game. Same thing for you. You're going to win the game too. If you remain diversified, despite what the headlines are. This year, international has been doing gangbusters, even before the U.S. was doing gangbusters. So these are things where I've talked to people in the past. We need to be diversified and have some international. Why international? It hasn't done well for 3 or 4 years. Well, because it is going to do well at certain times, and that's where we, why we include it so that we can enjoy those big years when it's up.
Yeah, you got some things when they're up, some things when they're down. So in both football and finance, the team or the person really who stays calm under pressure really, often comes out on top, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about, Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, the key to all this is just don't panic. It doesn't mean we ignore, doesn't mean that we don't make any adjustments as we go, but the key is not to panic. You don't want to sell when things are low. We don't want to act impulsively. And we don't want to go off any hot tips. We just want to make sure we stick to what we're doing.
Yeah, it's not about avoiding mistakes. It's just about how you handle them, right?
Correct. Very well.
And if you don't, have a good strategy and you get yourself in trouble, then coach will make you run your route tree and catch a bunch of balls, and then you wind up hurting your finger.
Just run laps. I'll call you when I get tired.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. If you guys need some help, you know what to do at this point. But if not, I'll remind you anyway. Click in one of the links down below. In the show descriptions, we've got links to get in touch with Coach and get onto his calendar. You can also see it on the screen. It's been on there the whole time, or you can give him a call. We got all that information in the show notes below, so just check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple or Spotify in audio form, and of course here on YouTube in video form. You can hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, and notification bell so that you can catch new episodes when they come out. Supports the channel and hopefully provides you with some fun conversation and some good content along the way. Coach, thanks for breaking it down as always, my friend.
Yes. Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Always good stuff. And we'll see you next time here on Red Zone Retirement Program. Simple Investing, Smart Future with Coach John Mears. John has a couple of free books, Diffuse and Tax-Free Retirement in California, that reveal exactly how you can experience zero taxes in retirement and overcome the IRS lien on your 401k, IRA, and 403b, which could threaten your future lifestyle. These are complimentary, so all you have to do to pick these up 100% free is just stop by rescuemyretirement.net. That's rescuemyretirement.net. Fill in the basic info and he'll ship those out to you immediately. That's rescuemyretirement.net for a copy of Diffuse and Tax-Free Retirement in California.
Advisory services offered through Mears Money Management, Inc., an RIA registered in the states of California and Texas. California Department of Insurance License number 0685203.